Hello, welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. And tonight we have a mix between Meghan and Prince Andrew. Yeah, I know this is not our regular programming, but there are some angles that we must cover today. The first one is about pictures published by the Daily Fail that show Prince Andrew in the front passenger seat being driven by Prince William, and Catherine is seen in the background. Somehow, all hell has broke loose about this, and as usual, it has to do with Prince Andrew's reputation. And this goes way before I became your favorite provider of royal memes, because that Prince Andrew interview was one of the first analysis I did for my YouTube channel in Spanish, all the way back to 2019. And I can clearly remember that I mentioned that his personal advisor told him not to do that interview, and he just went and did it anyway. Well, the advisor knew what was coming because he resigned before the interview took place. But with further benefit of hindsight, it's obvious that this did much more damage to Andrew's reputation because he actually gave ammunition for the anti monarchists for years to come. So that's why we have headlines such as this one: King Charles offers olive branch to Prince Andrew as he joins royals at Balmoral. Well, it's not like they were in fight terms exactly, but it seems like Prince Andrew won his battle to remain in the Royal Lodge in Windsor. Maybe it has to do with the fact that he paid for some of the renovations when he moved there, and that's why he feels entitled to stay. I would like to know what's your opinion about this anyway. But let's go back to the picture, and this is a principle that is called association by proximity. We tend to associate people that are together, for example, inside a car, associate them together like they are part of the same group. That also happens when we see, for example, a group photo, and we tend to think that they are all related. Well, that's why I always tell you that one needs to be careful who you take pictures with. Yeah, I've made that joke a couple times that one never knows when I'll be able to snap a picture with the Montecito morons if they don't recognize me, at least. This is something that could have worked out a couple of years ago, but now I'm sure I'm part of their weekly recap of videos just to see what I'm up to. But my point is that if I took that picture, my reputation would be jeopardized because these two are a reputation black hole. Whoever gets near them gets marked, a word that I don't like to use because not only because Meghan's family doesn't deserve it, but also people like Ben Markle from Pennsylvania, who I have no clue who he is, and I'm sure he's got no idea he just appeared on one of my videos, but he doesn't deserve his last name be devalued this way. But anyway, call it bad juju or something. I should destroy this picture and forget about this because this ain't going to happen. I've got a reputation to take care of. And Melanated Mona wrote a very interesting thread from a strategic communications perspective, thinking about the possibility that this picture, or maybe not the picture, but the fact that William was driving Andrew to church was part of a crisis management and brand image improvement strategy. In her own words, reputation experts often use individuals with great reputations to help those with damaged reputations. They believe the positive association will lend credibility to the person in need of a reputation repair. And this is something that reputation experts and brand advisors do all the time. In fact, that is one of the main strategies the Duchess of Sausages applies every week, if possible, with a different innocent bystander, such as those pictures with the headlines Meghan Markle picture alongside Cameron Diaz during Montecito outing. All the photos when nobody guaranteed that Cameron Diaz was actually hanging out with the Harkles. In fact, it's funny because in this picture, Harry and Meghan were seen walking past Cameron Diaz and her husband while they were just standing there. It was a paparazzi trick in this case to make it look like they were hanging out together. And by the way, do you know why Cameron Diaz doesn't do many headlines these days? Well, the answer is simple. She wants real privacy and not be part of these silly pup games. She makes sure to go to places without telling everyone she's going to be there, but nothing is out of reach when the Meg wants to take a free ride on your cloud. But Going back to Melanated Mona's thread, she actually includes a very good example of how the royal family managed this at Queen Elizabeth's funeral. It's the same way Sophie was saddled with Meghan during a car ride at the funeral. Do you really think that was Sophie's choice? No, well, I think Sophie's choice, at least in her mind, would have been opening the door and pushing Meghan out. And don't call me insensitive or I'm making things up because I know for a fact the thought crossed your mind too. But again, jokes aside, this is a real strategy and pretty much what could be at play here. But any body language analysis not only implies proximity, but facial expressions. And there's not much to see here because uh, besides Catherine's neutral expression, just taking a look ahead down the road, we cannot see William's face beyond a tiny sliver of his eye, which is not enough to make any solid assessment. What I can tell you is that he doesn't look like he was smiling, or at least the sliver that we can see of his face is not congruent with a smile. Most probably, he also had a neutral face expression, pretty much like Catherine's. But the face that I would like to watch is your face when I tell you that Gingerbread once stressed Meghan to meet with Charles with peace talks. And this is the kind of headlines that I absolutely believe. Because the other scenario is Harry talking alone face to face with King Charles, and I don't think he's got the balls to do it. And I speak metaphorically because we already know the fate of Harry's balls, but you get what I'm saying. Harry wants Meghan beside him to do more than just support. He needs her there to maybe talk for him, right? After all, she's a great speaker, or so her fans claim. But since Meghan is so stressed with the daily ins and outs of being a hands on mother to her two children, that, but by the way, we haven't seen out in ages. I hope they are getting enough vitamin D at the Montecito Palace's grounds. The solution for methane to keep her cool is to use one of those new calm patches that she absolutely did not merge because that would mean she would get in trouble with the Federal Trade Commission. And they have already the Department of Homeland Security breathing over Harry's neck. Well, just add a big R's patch and she should be fine to talk about the peace talks, which, thanks to the magic of the English language, which makes no sense sometimes, sounds like peace talks, much more appropriate in this case. And speaking of talks, Stephanie Sidley from the YouTube channel Twin Talk wants to remind us when Kim Kardashian voiced concern over her black baby's skin tone. Wasn't it only a year ago that Meghan and Mama Doria were accusing the royal family of discussing Archie's skin tone while calling the monarchy racist? Well, there you have it. But let's say goodbye today on a high note thanks to Princess Anastasia's tweet of Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Thompson protecting King Charles. And it's funny that the picture is not really focused on King Charles, right? Not to mention this lady here taking pictures at, well, I don't think that mobile phone is pointed at the king, that's for sure. I will leave you to your imagination what was going on that phone screen. My Royal Rogues, remember that you can download my free 100 body language tips in the description of this video, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Much love and bliss.